So apparently you're the only human being that Sunday night at 7:55 didn't sit down at their couch and watch the Netflix live. There's something wrong with the feed screen for 45 minutes like the rest of the nation.
No. First of all, I've told you before, I never heard of Love is Blind until we started doing this podcast. And when you started talking about it, I legitimately thought that it was a dating show for people who are visually impaired. That's not even a joke. That is what I thought this show was.
How did you never hear about it?
I don't know. And I'm on Netflix, I mean, at least once a day. I don't know. There's like pop culture things that are so large and that sometimes they
That it's like
slip
it's
through the
too much.
cracks.
Yeah, it's like too much. Yeah,
This was that.
Squid Game was that for me for a long time.
Now I come on, but I guess Squid Game is your Love is Blind. Did you think that was a show about marine life?
No, I knew what it was, but I just didn't watch
Okay.
it. Yeah.
All right, great. All right, well, what? Just explain to me. I read a little bit about it. Just explain to me what happened with Love is Blind.
So the Love is Blind is a show where these people meet in pods. I mean, I don't even know why I'm explaining this to you because every fucking person that listens to this watches it. They meet in these pods where they can't see each other, but they can talk to each other. And then the only reason that they can ever see each other is when they propose to each other in sight unseen, as they say.
Okay.
And then the first time they see each other is when they first like reveal who they are to each other, and they come into the middle of this like long hallway and like finally get to interact with each other physically.
Okay.
And then they like are on like basically go on a honeymoon, and then they try to live together, and then all leads up to their weddings where they go up to the altar and then they either say I do or I do not. And they like either going to stay married or they're going to get married or they're going to break up.
Got it.
And the finale, they started doing reunions for them. And this one, they started doing reunions for them, and they became very popular, the reunion, so they could like unpack the season. You get to see if the people are still together, if they're not, what happened. They get to talk about the experience,
Right.
This one, they said it's going to be a live reunion. It's going to be live. It's going to be in like 3 days after the final episode dropped, where you see the weddings.
Okay.
And it's going to be live on Netflix. It's like the only thing I think they've also done like this was the Chris Rock or
when Chris Rock
right?
did his
Chris Rock special, the stand up. That was the only other live thing they did. Everyone that watches like reality TV like this is like, I had made a pasta bar for me and my friends to like line up to watch the reunion. Hosted by two literal dingbats, Nick and Vanessa Lachey. Dom, I can't even explain to you the hate that I have in my heart for Vanessa Lachey.
Let me ask one question before you destroy her. Do these two host the show all season long, or they're just hosting the reunion?
They do, but like I think in the first season they hosted a lot of it, and then they saw like, oh my god, these people are fucking terrible, so they like cut out most of the parts where they host, and now they kind of just like show up like when they first start, and then like when they get to like the honeymoon. And they're just like, everyone come in and like meet each other. And they like, it's minimal. And they host a reunion. And Vanessa Lachey thinks that she's like Christiane Amanpour. Like truly, like she thinks she's like, it is the wildest thing you've ever seen in your life. I was ready to break my television in half just watching her. But basically what happened was that for 45 minutes, like not even longer than that, actually, for over an hour, it was just a loading screen that's like, we're having technical difficulties because it crashed, because so many people were trying to watch it that allegedly like it crashed the servers, which at 7:55, when I finally have made 3 different kinds of pasta and all this other stuff and have just served all my friends drinks, I sit down on the couch and then I said, wait, why on earth am I thinking that like this is going to be on time and not crash? Like everyone that I know is going to be watching this right now. Like, why on earth do I think this is starting at 8 p.m. on the dot? And so everyone is freaking out. My phone is exploding. Everyone's going crazy. And
because people were coming to you for the information.
Yes. Yeah. And then basically what happened was they eventually just gave up on it being live and decided to just shoot it live to tape and then just immediately try to throw it up on like the feed, which they did. So I've watched it like 2 hours late, and it was probably one of the worst reunions I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh no! So
it wasn't
quality,
even
it
good.
wasn't even worth
It
the
wasn't
wait.
even worth the wait. It was so awful. Netflix is like, if their stock didn't fall off a cliff, it should. Sorry.
That's a killer.
Yeah.
That's a real killer. But look, I knew you had texted me.
Oh yeah. Meanwhile, I texted you. I know what we're going to talk about on in our opening for the next episode because of Netflix, and then you just never responded.
I am so sorry. Well, you texted me at 9:31 p.m. and you texted me, well, I definitely know what we're talking about for our opener. There will be 900 articles tomorrow about Love is Blind. You referred to it as the Fyre Festival. I knew what that was.
Yeah.
I then, first of all, thought to myself, you are texting me in the middle of Succession, and debated for a minute about whether or not to just cancel this entire podcast and my association with you. But when Succession was over and I actually checked the text, because that is like the only show where I actually put the phone down and have my sort of Calgon moment
and let it wash all over you.
Take me away.
Yeah.
And when it was done, I apologize for not texting you back. It was not intentional, but I then just fell into a Twitter wormhole about all of it, and just got the rest of the information I desired from Twitter. And I hate Twitter as just, a rule. Like, I hate what Twitter is.
Yeah.
But I do love an occasional glimpse at how people overreact to 100%.
Things. It's great.
And
that's what it should just be now. It should just be what you were saying right now. Wow, did we just fix Twitter? Wait, did we just fix Twitter? Wait. Did we just fix Twitter? I'm so sorry.
Where you can only use Twitter if you're commenting on live programming.
Yes.
And that's it. And you only have a 5-minute window.
Wow, that's good.
It is so hilarious because people are just like, I want my $12 back, and all of this insane bullshit about how they're canceling Netflix because of this one show. It's like, ma'am, even your favorite restaurant has a roach once in a while. You can't help it.
True.
I understand you're addicted, but this whole give me my money back shit was hilarious to me.
However,
if you cancel Netflix, where are you going to watch Manifest? Where
are you going to watch Manifest? True. However, what I will say is, like, they really promoted this live event. It wasn't like it was just happening. They were like going, they were streaming live on Instagram, being like with a countdown going. You know what I mean? Like, for hours, they're streaming live on Instagram, being like, the countdown is this. Like, they really were pushing it. And so we showed up, and then they just took it away from us. It was truly the Fyre Festival 2.0.
I am sure that Nick and Vanessa Lachey are somehow directly responsible for all of it. They're cursed. I mean, what Nick Lachey did to Jessica Simpson, and what Vanessa did to whoever she was before Nick met Nick Lachey. I'm sure it was terrible.
And it was
so. Fun fact: I do not watch any relationship oriented reality programming, because I worked on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette for, I think, 7 seasons.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't.
This is the only one that I watch. Can I tell you that? This one is the only one that I watch. Love is Blind.
Is it?
Because I don't watch Bachelor at all. I don't watch Bachelorette. I don't watch, like, it's the only one that I watch.
If you, Chris DeRosa, had the opportunity to be a producer on that show, you would never leave it. It is so.
Oh, really?
It is so it's so much working on that show. I in its totality was difficult because you are truly living it. I had several jobs there. At one point I was the director of house reality, and I lived in the house with the women. It was insane. It was truly insane. And then I stayed there long enough. But
it's going to be a no for me, dog.
This is the job, though. This is the job. I stayed there long enough where then I became, I was the Bachelorette's producer, and the Bachelorette this season was was Deanna Pappas. And first of all, she was amazing. I wish I kept in touch with her more, and we did for several years, but you're just with this one person, this one cast member 24/7. So in the 2 months or however long it takes to shoot all of this, you're just with this person the whole time. If she's flying first class, which she always is, you're flying first class. If every exotic location she has to go to for all these away dates, you get to go on all of them. If she's in a suite, you're in the suite next door. You're essentially, you are also the Bachelorette if you are the Bachelorette producer, but you don't have to shower every day or wear makeup. It was really fantastic.
Did you feel like the Bachelorette?
I did feel like the Bachelorette. I actually, when the fantasy suites come up, whoever is her producer has to have sex with all of the men before she does, just to get another perspective.
Is it sad that I almost believe that? Is that like what? Yeah. So like, people are upset. I understand. It's embarrassing. They should just not do. They need to do just like a not live reunion. Is what they need to do. Just film a real one, like normal.
I mean, the good thing about shooting anything live is like when it's done, it's done. But the bad part about shooting something live is like it might be done, but if it's not good, it's never going to be good.
No,
you'd much rather like pace it, not live, but just pace yourself in the edit and just make it better. Live is hard.
And it's hard, and like you're resting the steering of the ship to Nick and Vanessa Lachey.
I mean,
talk about being out over your skis. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And that's not even like trying to make fun of them. That's like they're not equipped to do that.
No, it's a big responsibility and I'm sure you have as well. Well, you saw it on Sunday night, but it's a big people don't understand how hard it is and how it is something you have to rehearse for and be prepared for any eventuality.
And
doing like live and hosting and all that shit, very difficult.
Yeah, and like be able to just react on instinct and know that it's the right thing. Do you know what I mean? Like not to just go, but to be able to just go forward in a direction and know that you're going in the right direction, even if it's not the right direction, and you're going to somehow make it become that.
Yep. No, we talked about this when we talked about the Oscars as well. Like, I know Jimmy Kimmel is rarely, revered as like revolutionary comic, but he is a great fucking host of his own show and of the Academy Awards because he keeps it very funny. He keeps it moving. And when shit happens, which it always does, he deftly just steps over it. Like reading the wrong film for Best Picture is supposed to be something that you lose control of. And he just didn't when it happened. He quite literally laughed at it while it was happening, which was the appropriate response. And he cleaned it up. He's great. Hosting is hard.
Speaking of, I don't even know. How do I even segue into this?
I don't know where I was going. How did we end up here?
No, I was about to segue into like who we are fixing today, but like, how do you even begin to climb that mountain? I think what we should do is introduce our guest and then we'll get to it.
Okay.
All right. You know him from My Unorthodox Life on Netflix. He's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my whole life. He's someone who we would just die laughing while making that show together. And just even the side looks during scenes, the jokes after the scene. He's one of the funniest people I know. His name is Robert Brotherton. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Queens. Hello. Thank you. Such a pleasure to be with you.
You blend right into the two of us. Like you're just like a third like pea in a pod, really.
I just think we've got dumb, dumber, and dumbest right here. And hopefully we're just going to be three idiots.
I like Chris's intro where he's like, when we made this show together, it's like, you just might as well say, I just needed the other nasty gay guy on set to identify themselves so we could talk shit about everyone else in the room.
I would go to Chris and be like, how can I stir this shit more? Obviously, he has plenty of answers. A wealth of experience to draw upon.
So before we find out why Robert is uniquely qualified to be here today, just a quick rundown of our client. Mindy Kaling, most of you will have been introduced to when she was a character named Kelly Kapoor on the NBC sitcom The Office. After that, she participated in a series of what ended up being scandalous projects for one reason or another, which we'll be talking about today. The Mindy Project was one of them, followed by The Sex Lives of College Girls. And then, of course, there comes the latest scandal, project-wise, Velma, which has a 6% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The other side of her, go ahead.
You're forgetting Never Have I Ever.
I'm forgetting. I wouldn't say I'm forgetting that as much as I've never fucking heard of it. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't even know what it is. So there's that. Was that also a scandal?
It was basically like her as it's like Kelly Kapoor as a child. Basically.
I will be educated then on this podcast as usual. Outside of her theatrical work, the latest there are scandals involving her brother. From a few years back, where he admitted to lying about his race to get into medical school. Now, what that has to do with her, I have no idea. It just sounded like another juicy thing to throw in about her. And finally, most recently, she showed up to the Academy Awards looking rail thin, and the rumors abound that she did so by using the drug Ozempic. And we'll talk about our opinions about whether or not people should be using Ozempic. There's a scandal around that as well that she is now the poster child for.
Robert, I called you here for our client today, Miss Mindy Kaling, because you did something that not many people have done, which is get a large amount of surgeries on television.
Right.
You had to lose a lot of weight before season 2 started. I kind of want you to explain quickly for the people that did not see, like what your surgical process was at the beginning of season 2 of My Unorthodox Life.
I lost like 90 pounds. It took me a while. And
the old-fashioned way, like truly like diet and exercise. I remember seeing you the last time I saw you in person was you were night and day. It was like you truly lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, breaking news, and we'll discuss it a little bit further. I did dabble with a little bit of Ozempic. So
oh, really?
I do have, I do have some firsthand knowledge as to the whole process of that. And, it was, I absolutely lost like the first 50 pounds, old fashioned, stopped eating corn dogs at every chance. But that last 30 pounds proved to be pretty difficult. So I had to, go into the toolbox. I sought out every possible doctor. And by the way, Ozempic is nothing new. Like every little plebeian who sees skinny Mindy Kaling is like, oh, she's on Ozempic. Bitches, Ozempic has been around for 3 years. And everyone who knows anything about anything and has a doctor of any value and wants to be skinny has been on Ozempic. I mean, it's the simplest thing on earth. So just throwing it out there, this is not a new thing. But I definitely did it, and it absolutely helped me lose the last 30 pounds before the surgery. And
good for you.
Have I gained it back? 100%. But girl, I love a quick fix.
So the lesson is, if you're taking Ozempic, you must keep taking Ozempic.
Oh,
that is the rule.
Wait, yeah. I truly did not even know this. So the fact that I chose you, I was like, can you please do this episode with us is crazy. That is, wow. Okay. I'm in the clouds right now. Oh my God.
In
okay.
the clouds. Right, listen, so basically, I lost the weight and I had a lot of extra skin, a little bit of Ozempic face. And I wanted to, as my doctor said, refresh the tissues. So I had 360 liposuction skin excisions. I had fat transferred from my stomach to my ass and my shoulders and my left earlobe and right testicle. And I had liposuction on my tits. I mean, really everything. Liposuction on the hips. So not only did I do old-fashioned way and Ozempic, a little lipo never hurts. So I'm all about it. I'm all about any kind of trick you want to pull when it comes to looking and feeling your best.
So I think that brings us to Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, where do we begin?
I think that the beginning of all of this is that Velma comes out. And there's one article that I read a lot about this was in Pop Crush. It was called "Why Does Everyone Suddenly Hate Mindy Kaling?" And it was by Taylor Alexis Hetty, published on July 18th, 2023. They basically say that when Velma comes out, it's people start to say this is like the same character that she keeps putting in every show over and over and over again, and people are kind of sick of it. And then that kind of launches like the trolls to like go into like old episodes of the Mindy Project and old episodes of Never Have I Ever, and like look at the Sex Lives of College Girls, which is a show that's still coming out with episodes now, and like really doing the fine tooth comb of like, how do we bring up old things that they did from their past to like cancel them kind of a thing. And so then people basically kind of say that she's always lusting after white men. She's always putting down her race, and she's always being like, her characters are always embarrassed that they're Indian. They're always talking about like wanting to like just be quote unquote normal or just like fit in. And that like she's never basically had like a love interest that's not been white, or any of the characters that she's written in any of these shows. And so that's kind of the snowball effect that starts this whole thing. And then she pops up at the Oscars and everyone, and that's like, she's smack dab in the crosshairs of like the Ozempic, like what,
Because it
like,
was always bubbling.
mob.
People were bubbling about that for years, but then in 2023, the 1-2 punch of Velma and the Oscars it has launched her into, I think, Chris, when I said how many people asked us to talk about Mindy Kaling, you said millions actually asked us.
No, I mean, not millions, but every time I put up on my Instagram, like, who should we fix? Like, minimum 3 people say Mindy Kaling. Or like, have you done Mindy Kaling yet? Like, when is Mindy Kaling happening?
Right. And I was surprised because I feel like she's, like I said, she is bubbling and people have been talking about her more, but I didn't realize until I started researching her how in the conversation she has been for the past 4 or 6 months. Like, it's really, there are a lot of people who really do not like her and are really writing some horrible things about her. I mean,
but guys, don't you think this is like the cost of fame? I mean, now she's like front and center, and like now all of a sudden she's a bigger part of the conversation. I mean, today I saw an article about from People magazine about her kids' Easter egg paintings. Like, they showed like a carton full of eggs that her kids had very poorly painted. And this is like, what? This is really part of the zeitgeist here. Miss Mindy Kaling loses 40 pounds, and all of a sudden, bam, Nicole Kidman.
I bet those kids' eggs will sell for a lot of money, though.
Yeah,
they could. I mean, those are nepo babies. Those are nepo
babies.
Nepo babies.
They will make some serious coin off that. Warner Brother has already optioned their life story.
Yeah. Well, I think it's something where, like, and I'll be the first to say we're 3 white gay men that are like are absolutely 0% qualified to like unpack the nuances of like her relation to race, but
particularly her own.
Yes. And but like she is in some ways kind of that tokened character that is like the Indian girl that wants to be white, you know what I mean? Or the Indian girl that like longs to fit in and not be first generation. And it's very like, there's no other, like, who else is telling that story? Why are we not turning towards all of the people making the shows for her and being like, why aren't there more voices like hers out in the world that can tell a different side of it? Like, she's kind of, and like, what's she going to do? Be like, no, I shouldn't take another blank $1 million from a streamer to make a show. Like, of course she's not going to do that. Like, and she's like written and worked her way up to the top. So why is she not going to reap the benefits? That's not to dismiss any of, the things that people are saying about it.
No, and it's okay to defend her, I think. Yeah. I mean, I think there's always 2 sides of the story to every celebrity we're obscuring here. I'd be interested to know from her if this was her deliberate niche, was to be that, or if she felt sort of forced into it. Because, once you do something and you have even mild success with it in Hollywood, everyone just wants you to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And the funny thing is that Velma is apparently, she's the EP of Velma, but she didn't write the character, supposedly. Right. She's just EPing the show and voicing it. Obviously, she has a say in how the character is presented, but apparently it's not her voice coming out of Velma's voice. She is a voice actor and a producer of the show. But I will say too, as a comic, that I understand that, you know, there's value in performance. There's value in the thing that's making you different from most of the people who are listening. And I think if she talks about her race or her relationship to her race, it almost makes sense. Like, I don't know, my comedy is so gay because being gay is sort of so boring in general, but it is the most interesting thing about me. So it is what I talk about anytime there's a mic in front of me.
You say this as you're wearing a trucker hat that is a rainbow flag with a rainbow unicorn with a heart on its butt.
I think the heart is the actual shape of the butthole on that unicorn. I'm just noticing that now.
Oh my gosh, I
can't
have the
wait
same
everyone to
disease.
Just need the fizz.
That unicorn is prolapsed in the shape of a heart.
Yeah.
Go to our Instagrams and we'll show you the unicorn's butthole.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
I
if I
can
had
point
a
you to a
nickel.
plastic surgeon who can do it for you if you don't have one
God.
yourself. I mean, like, just to, like, you know, build on what Dominick said, I feel like when I'm like making fun of myself or making fun of the gay community, like, of course, like, I deprecate like that. Of course, I focus on the funny things, the negative things, the incongruities. And that's exactly what her characters do. And they sell. And so I understand if you're a person in the Indian or the South Asian community and you are seeking representation on television that where you can, like, see pride in it, or that is more connected to, you know, cultural heritage, 100% totally understand it. But at the end of the day, it's a super complex thing to get a TV show across the line. You've got 100 white men trying to figure out, how do I connect and identify with this, you know, Indian girl? And this is probably a lot of her own kind of personal story and journey in, like, how to fit in this world, whether it's the entertainment industry or just, like, you know, growing up in America or growing up in her hometown or whatever it may be. So I'm sure all of that kind of informs this character that then sells a shit ton of TV episodes.
Right. And we're not in an era where, you know, there's definitely diversity. Casting is obviously the norm now, which is fantastic. But Mindy Kaling is also not someone, no one's saying, hey, will you star in Pride and Prejudice? You know, like, they're coming to her for her specific lane. I, however, have been asked to star in Pride and Prejudice, and that's the announcement I'd like to make today. The all-fat, middle-aged gay version. It's called Wide and Prejudice.
It's the three of
Will the halls of Pemberley be thus polluted?
Solved. I feel like we just solved her by giving her this idea to produce the three of us in that.
This is it.
I think Dominick would be a killer Dame Judi Dench if I'm not,
100%.
you know,
I'm very close to her in age. Thank you. I'm working on it.
He did an impression of her last episode.
Oh,
he really did.
I'm just imagining you in, like, a full linen look. You're just like Eileen Fisher from that's another thing that's really trending today. Quiet luxury. Dominick screams quiet luxury.
Wow.
In your
trucker hat.
stone-dried brushed linen pashmina capelet.
Oh my God.
Anyone who actually knows me probably fainted hearing you describe me as quietly luxurious.
If they had not already fainted from your heart-shaped prolapsed penis.
This is going as well as I.
So if you're still with us, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging on. Free Ozempic shots to everyone still with us today. Use the code SkinnyBitch at checkout. Sorry, I mispronounced that. Skinny cunt. C-U-N-T. Skinny cunt. Forgive me.
Oh my God. That's you're such an idiot, Robert. Skinny cunt. No, and I think something to go back to something Dominick said earlier, like, they want what works, which, like, you were on one of the most hit sitcoms ever to exist, and so they're coming back to basically be like, what would Kelly Kapoor, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What would Kelly Kapoor do in this situation as this person? Like, you know what I mean? That's basically, like, what I'm sure every single one of her deals starts as, which is, like, not so much her fault. But then again, it brings me back to my point of, like, we should be asking, why is Mindy Kaling the only person that we're coming to for this, like, race and ethnicity of person to be represented on our TV screens.
Agreed. And I think she's probably taking most of the heat, like you said earlier, because there aren't many other people like her telling that story, telling her story. So I think she might have been nominated just by being one of the first people, and now is viewed as that sort of role model. And you hear from celebrities all the time.
Yeah.
Rihanna has said it multiple times. I'm sure Judi Dench has also said it, although she just can't help being a role model. But it's the truth. She can't, she has to bear the responsibility that she probably didn't ask for.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good segue, because like I read another article that was saying like Mindy Kaling doesn't need to be the body positivity like icon that we all want her to be, or that we like have like grown accustomed, like she's been grown accustomed to being.
Mhm.
And it's like, that's, I think, another, it kind of is the same thing whenever if we want to transition over to now these, the rumored Ozempic use of Mindy Kaling, which is just as scandalous to these people. I think we just jump into the Ozempic of it all.
Here's my actual question about this. I know that Ozempic is a medicine for, what is it for? Is it kidney disease or
diabetes?
Diabetes. Thank you.
Yeah. Diabetes.
So, Ozempic is being used by people that don't have diabetes. This is a scandal. You're taking all of it. I'm a pretty stupid person, I'm sure, for asking this, but can't they just make more Ozempic?
Well, that's like my first like comment whenever anyone is like,
not only can they, but they do. They went, this pharmaceutical company went to the FDA, they got it approved for weight loss, and they just slapped another name on it. It's called Wegovy. And it's just not covered by insurance. It's the same exact thing. It's called semaglutide.
What?
Wegovy. Wegovy. It's what Bianca Del Rio calls her wig. Wegovy. But so the pharmaceutical company can and does, market this exact drug for weight loss, and they've been testing it for the last like 10 years or something. I mean, that's like fake news, but it's like it exists.
Well, and also, like, the pharmaceutical company's job is to make money. So, like, yeah, of course they're going to just make more of it. That was the part that I think was so funny, is that it was like, no, this is like, everything is always like becoming like a moral quandary for us, the consumer, when it just like never has to be. Like, it's always like, you should not take this, because then like people that have diabetes that need it aren't being able to get it. And it's like, well, whose fault is that? It's not the consumer. It's the doctor's fault who is prescribing it to people that they shouldn't be. How is it it's not my fault that I'm accepting what my doctor is telling me I should get on, one. And two, like, we live in a capitalist society. I'm sorry. If there's a demand for something, we're going to make the supply. Am I wrong?
Right. Well, the only thing, I think that the thing that people would maybe, counterback with is the increased demand in this drug, whether it's the Ozempic brand or the Wegovy brand, it's all the same thing, has led to massive price increases. And I experienced this. When I started taking it first, so the demand has led to an increased price, which then becomes problematic for anyone who can't necessarily afford it. So a vial of Ozempic is like $600 with insurance. I mean,
no,
that's like so much cocaine. Like,
yeah, but you won't lose it as quick. I think the Ozempic is quicker than that. I do.
I have a number for a dealer for you.
Text me.
No fentanyl.
But I would use a kit anyway. I don't even use Sweet and Low without testing it now. I'm so terrified of fentanyl. Terrified.
But that's crazy that now it's so expensive.
And when I first started taking it, it was like $25. $25 with insurance. It was so easy. And then all of a sudden, like, bam, it becomes this really popular thing. And now it's $600 with insurance. I think if you don't have insurance, it's like $2,000. So
that's insane.
I mean, it's still, it's still cheaper than surgery. It's still, and a weight loss surgery is largely, unless you're at death's door, weight loss surgery is largely not covered by major insurance companies. And so if it's 600, even if it's 2,000, that's still horrible, obviously, but I'm just trying to silver lining the situation is that if you have to pay $2,000 for it, it's still going to be less than what you'd have to pay for the surgery. And it's still less than, the amount of food you would buy for, in 6 months, feeding yourself, staying the size that I am. This has been a really tough episode.
And for me,
I apologize.
For me, when I took it, so basically what it is, it's this little pen. It's super cute. It looks like a Sharpie. You turn the dial to the appropriate dosage, and it has this little tiny needle that like you can barely see, like it's smaller than the Botox needle. You shove it into your stomach, and you click this button at the top of the pen, and it goes, and then the drug is like dispersed into your stomach. And what it does is it just makes you more full more quickly. So like, whereas like I would have a foot-long chili cheese coney, maybe now I would only eat 6 inches or 8 inches. And so, it like, I don't know if it like stimulates the fullness hormone or what it does, but that was the experience I had.
And how immediate did it curb your appetite? Like how
Not
immediately? No,
it had to like build up. Like I didn't experience like, oh, I took the shot and like, bam, I was ready. I felt like there was an onboarding process that I had to go through. But once it was in, I really noticed like, oh my gosh, I'd have half the sandwich and I was full. And so basically it meant that I was intaking fewer calories, which led to weight loss. So it's not like a shot that's like going in and like burning your fat for you. It's just suppressing your appetite.
It's just, it's literally just I went to lunch with someone and they were like, I just started doing like the peptides, which is basically Ozempic, and watch me eat. Like I'll eat this and then I'll eat like a fourth of my sandwich and then I'm like, done. I don't want to eat anymore. And this is someone that I knew that like was like could put away food like the world was ending. You know what I mean? And so
if you keep talking shit about me, I'm gonna leave this podcast. You'll hear from my attorneys.
How often do you administer yourself is it every day?
Once a week. Super easy.
Once a week. And you do it yourself?
Yeah.
And how much of a supply do you get when you get the prescription? Is it just
depending? So the pen holds either 4 or 6 doses depending on like how much you give yourself. So it has a little dial that you can like increase or decrease. Of course, like my doctor was like, take the lowest, and I was like cranking that.
Of course.
Like I was a fucking railroadsman. It was as far as that fucking dial would go.
I would be like, hello, doctor. I accidentally used all 4 shots at once. Was that appropriate?
I was like using it as eye drops. The thinnest pupils you've ever seen.
Oh my God. Did I mean, on your first appointment back with your doctor, you must have looked like Nicole Kidman when you walked in there, introducing a film.
I was like a Nicole Richie meets
all the Nicoles. Oh my God.
I was so shocked one morning. I woke up and my clavicle had popped so far out, I thought it was going to break the mirror. It was very pronounced.
I mean, we should be charging Ozempic for this episode.
I've
not heard one thing that would make me not take it.
I'm like, folks, don't run, don't walk to get your prescription. And they were giving out like coupons for it, but I don't think they're even doing that anymore.
Well, now it's like basically like liquid gold.
Correct. Yeah.
But this is all like to say that like this isn't none of these things are a quick fix. Like, yes, they're a quick fix in the moment, but you do have to truly sustain it. And that's something that I think people are skipping over. And that's a lot of like what the like people against the Ozempic taking it for weight loss is like the minute you get off of it, you do start to eat normally again. All this to say, Mindy Kaling becomes a person on the list of like people in Hollywood that are rumored to be on Ozempic. She kind of takes the brunt of a lot of it, in my opinion, as far as like celebrities on Ozempic. Like she was the first one that like everyone's throwing up there to be like, look at this person's weight loss.
Which is weird because, there was an incident prior to Mindy Kaling showing up on the red carpet. Kim Kardashian, I guess, had said that she'd lost 16 pounds in 3 weeks or something before the Met Gala. Did she admit to using Ozempic to do that? Or was it? she didn't. So that's another rumor, because she was actually, I would assume, patient zero for it publicly. But I really didn't hear about Ozempic at all until Mindy was on the red carpet, and then it's just every day now I hear about it online.
Well, and like this is just a safer, like seemingly one that works version of like all the other freaking drugs that they've like. Name all the other weight loss drugs that we have like heard class action lawsuits about in our lifetimes. Ready? Let's go.
What was
Fen?
Robert already said cocaine, so there's that.
Like what? Slim Fast? Like remember Slim Fast?
Please. Cocaine, Slim Fast.
Remember Trim Spa? I think I said that in an early
Spa.
episode. Remember
I
Trim
mean, all
Spa?
of these were like Kim Kardashian, like early ventures.
Like Trim Spa. Like,
oh my God.
Right, but like, am I wrong? I don't know. Am I putting like an actual real medication in the thing of Trim Spa? Like,
no.
I mean,
am I
a little
like
bit.
It depends. Do you think Slim Fast is a real medication?
No.
You haven't been mainlining their protein shakes?
Am I putting Ozempic in a class of like idiot weight loss, like snake oils?
Well, Slim Fast only works if you snort it. I've read that in several places.
That is very true. That is very true.
I have to tell you, all this talk about Ozempic is making me
white.
I would like an entire lasagna.
Oh.
It's making me sympathetic to Mindy Kaling, specifically because now she's the spokesperson for Ozempic. She's probably like, haven't you nominated me to be the spokesperson for enough shit that I now have to be this too? I just wanted to look hot on the red carpet. Can you leave a bitch alone?
And she did look hot. The girl looked hot.
She really did look good.
Top to bottom, it was a masterpiece. That Oscars like corset moment. I mean, other than the like fish fins that were on the peplum detail, I mean, she looked so good. I don't know why she's become the face of it all of a sudden. I mean, even in the Oscars, Kimmel made like a joke about how the whole fucking thing was sponsored by Ozempic or something like that. I mean, everyone in that room was shooting up in the bathroom. You know, 0.25 milligrams right into the stomach right before breakfast, right before dessert.
Wait, are you supposed to do it before a meal? Or
no, you just do it whenever you want. And it's only the women. I mean, it's not like we didn't hear about, Alec Murdaugh coming into the courtroom looking skinny. Oh, must have been Ozempic.
No, true.
You didn't hear that, did you? Mm-mm.
Guilty for killing his family or Ozempic? Oh my God. I'm going on Ozempic. I mean, this story only ends with me
with you
going on Ozempic and bringing the listeners through the journey.
It's funny because it's like, even us saying this, it's like you saying, I almost feel bad for Mindy Kaling. It's like, we're almost like now putting her in the Ozempic box, much like everyone was putting her in the, like, you are our like token Indian representation box kind of a thing.
Yeah.
To bring it, full circle.
We should probably move into our pitches, Christopher, don't you think?
But before we get there, I just want to ask, did you guys hear, so I saw a TikTok so the whole Mindy Kaling Ozempic rumor started with this guy on TikTok who basically like outed her for having Ozempic parties. Now, had you heard of this?
No.
So this is like
Proceed.
I don't know, could very well be fake news, but so apparently, like, it's like, oh, health and wellness. And this guy goes, no, but she was like hosting Ozempic parties in Brentwood or wherever the hell she lives. And I guess this must be some, party where instead of like Coke and caviar, they're just shooting up Ozempic, while they cook like gluten-free baby food in the kitchen. But this was a Hollywood thing where they're doing Ozempic parties.
To be like, everyone pass around like the pen.
Yeah, which that could be sharing needles. We all know what that could lead to.
Wait, what? There's an Ozempic party.
God, this got so dark. I just want to be thin. I don't want to be dead. Clean the needle.
It's horrible. You're horrible.
I'm sure it was sanitary.
You two together is not good. Like, you two together, you're both pushing the limit with me all the time, and you together, it's really bad.
Pushing the limit.
Well,
we should
my
have a
question
contest.
is, would you two go to an Ozempic party? So if I invited you,
yes,
to like an Ozempic party,
Robert's like, so if in theory my finger is on my mouse and my mouse is hovering over a send button for a paperless post for an Ozempic party at my house, would you reply yes or no?
I am so certain that we're going to an Ozempic party that when we're done with this, I'm going to eat everything in sight just because I can, because I know
For
it's
the
going to be
last
gone in a couple of
time.
days. I'm going to literally eat everything.
So quick it'll be gone. Like you don't even have to worry about it.
Oh, I can't wait. All right, Christopher,
right.
now I think we should get into our pitches.
I agree. So, Robert, what happens is both myself and Dominic will throw out pitches of what we think Mindy Kaling should do to get out of this bad controversy that she's in. And then after we are done pitching, you can react, you can say what you think, and then you choose which pitch we send to Mindy Kaling.
Okay, let's do this.
Which of our pitches will we send that she will never see?
She will never.
I am in full Shark Tank mode.
Okay, great. Okay, here we are. Okay,
and you idiots better bring it.
Yeah, we are. Okay. Okay, my pitch. And I did not fact check if they have done this yet, which I'm pretty sure they probably have, but I don't even care if they did. Mindy Kaling is going to go on SNL. Mindy Kaling is going to do an SNL short, like digital short, and it is going to be a parody of an Ozempic commercial. And she is going to Dom's engaged.
I am sitting up straight. I love this. I love it.
She's going to do a parody of a Ozempic commercial where she and all of the other celebrities that are rumored to be on Ozempic are going to be like, I was just the only version of Indian representation on American television. And then I went on Ozempic. And then basically just make a huge joke about the whole thing and point out how fucking ridiculous it is that she's being skewered alive for going on Ozempic, and giving every celebrity that's getting roasted about possibly being on Ozempic the chance to either cop to it or say I'm actually not on Ozempic, or something something in the short is going to basically liberate all of these people and make fun of themselves or admit that they just lost weight. And it's going to be packaged in a parody commercial for Ozempic, and it's going to be hilarious in the SNL fashion, and it can just happen and go off, and then no one ever has to talk about it ever again. And that is my pitch.
That's a great pitch.
Interesting.
That's a great pitch. Reasonable as always. I am always at the end of your pitches. I want to see it. And then I think about my pitch, which I just want to see more. I don't know what else to tell you, but here it goes. It will be controversial in many ways. I'm a big fan of if they already hate you, make them hate you more. I don't even understand why someone would go down another road, because you're already making money doing what you're doing and they hate you. So you'll probably make more money if they hate you more. Mindy Kaling starring in an all BIPOC remake of The Whale with her in the lead role.
No. No.
So, we're laughing, but are you gonna watch this? Is my question.
Oscar worthy, as we know. Oscar worthy.
It's perfect.
I'm not even giving it the thought about should she gain the weight? Should they do I don't care. She just needs to be in it somehow.
Who's directing?
Every problem that people have with her, she could in one film she can get rid of it. She can deal with the Ozempic. Everyone, it doesn't even have to be a BIPOC cast, just to satiate all of the critics, have it be an all Indian cast, and she can even make it a comedy if she wanted. She doesn't have to be a direct a direct remake or ripoff of The Whale. She can just, I don't know, maybe just call it Another Whale, or call it And Now This Whale. That's it. She's going to call it And Now This Whale. Or if we're talking about whales, I don't, we should call it Free Mindy. That's what we should call it. We'd call the movie Free
Instead
Mindy.
of Free
We're not even calling it
Willy.
The Whale. Yeah, we're not even calling it The Whale. We're just calling it Free Mindy. She can wear a fat suit or she can gain the weight back, whatever she's more comfortable with, as long as in the credit bed, she's just giving the finger to everyone in the theater. That's all I want. And either eating a muffin or giving herself a shot in the credit bed. Or both,
God
actually,
in
because she
heaven.
could. And only eat half the muffin.
Wow.
Have I stunned you into silence? I know.
I can't deal.
That's a really provocative take on a PR crisis. I think, I do have a few questions, if I may.
Please.
You may.
So, Chris, can you share with me, is there any type of taking ownership involved in this skit, or are we keeping the Ozempic did she, didn't she more ambiguous?
I feel like I pitched out then if some people didn't take Ozempic, they can cop to that. But it's she is saying and then I went on Ozempic, and she is admitting to it in the commercial.
It sounds like you're describing an Ozempic party, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh. Am I not describing an Ozempic party?
By the way, did you check your inboxes?
No.
Okay, interesting. Did you have any ideas for other castmates in that skit that might become involved?
Well, people are saying Kyle Richards from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is a culprit, so she would be in there. Multiple other housewives have come forward saying that they were on Ozempic, so they would be in it. And that's the thing is that Mindy knows because she's the one throwing the parties. I don't know, but Mindy knows.
So that kind of leads me to Dominick. Dominick and Chris, I'd love you to weigh in on this. Do you feel like what you've just described is some type of new Bravo television series? We could have a lot of actually, is Indian matchmaking Netflix or Bravo?
It's Netflix.
That is Netflix.
Got it.
She's taking notes. What are you writing down?
We're being roasted now. We're being grilled.
That's not a pen. It's a needle.
It's being
Why are you plunging that pen into your stomach during this podcast?
Dominick, when you said that you would call your doctor and say, I used all 4 shots.
It was an accident.
I think I have. Okay, my problem with both of your ideas is that I think in order to. So we're gonna opt for my idea. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
my issue.
You can.
You can. If
my
you want.
issue, just from a PR perspective, is the quickest way to shut it down is that the people just want to know one way or the other. And the only correct answer is yes. Because if she says no, there will always be speculation. And the quickest way for no one to care is just to own it, talk about it, and then take the deal. Oprah lost weight, Weight Watchers deal, millions of dollars later. Now we're looking at cauliflower pizza crusts all across America. Okay, that's what I want from Mindy Kaling. Okay, I want to see her as the face of this stomach needle and just pocketing the millions. So then she doesn't have to keep making these archetypal Indian characters that everyone hates. She can just go to Brentwood Market and not eat any of the food she buys.
So you want her to retire from acting and just hawk these meds.
And just
I just can't think of a better paycheck than a pharmaceutical paycheck. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think Warner Brothers Television is paying that. I mean, I know she's in development with a new Harpo project with Oprah. There could be a wonderful collab there.
I don't know. There's no paycheck like a pharmaceutical paycheck.
CAA,
the
UTA,
most American thing ever said. Literally, there really isn't.
No, there really isn't. He is Robert. You speak the truth.
I think so. Between the two ideas, obviously, it's got to be Dominick. I mean, it's just so.
Thank you, Robert.
Spectacular.
Thank you so
and I
much.
think if you're not going to, really own it, you might as well just go down in a flaming pile of shit.
Agreed.
Congratulations, Dominick. A beautiful. I mean, we'll be lining up. We'll be lining up to be front row for this movie.
Well, we're gonna produce. We're not lying. We're producing this now.
Okay,
The three of
okay.
us will produce it. Like
I
we were
think
all
sure
here
will.
at its birth.
Brendan Fraser's got to be involved somehow. We've got to loop him into this.
What could he do? He could just show up. He could just show up to set every day and awkwardly cry for no reason.
And
He's in
then
charge of
leave.
craft
That's
services.
how he spent the past
Craft
year.
Yeah,
services,
he'll
so-
be behind the crafty table.
Is this where the cool kids are? It's like, okay, just we get it. You're touched and you're
Yeah, like,
wonderful. Take
move
this
it
Oscar.
along.
Beat it.
Yeah.
Beat it.
Robert, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for sharing so much, educating us on Ozempic and so much
Yeah.
more. I mean, this was crazier and wilder than I ever thought it could be.
Well,
This is without question our most educational installment of this podcast. Thanks to you,
100%.
Robert, for real.
wow. I don't know if that is a compliment or an
Something you
insult.
want to be proud of.
Education.
Yes,
was
the answer
never
is yes.
Something.
All of it.
Well, thank you guys. I had a lot of fun, and hopefully, when Mindy gets your note, she takes notice, and I hope to see this on your IMDb page one of these days.
Oh God, that would be great.
You'll be
That'd
right
be
there
great.
with us. All right, Robert,
From
where
my
can people
lips
find
to
you?
Pfizer's ears.
Okay, Robert, where can people find you?
Oh gosh, usually behind the Taco Bell, but if you're talking about online, I have an Instagram that I post on once every 4 weeks at RPBII. That's about it.
Thank you so This is so funny. Thank you so much for being here. This was a whirlwind of, oh my God, it's so great. It's
It
so great
was.
to
It was a
just hear your
dervish.
voice.
This whole episode was a dervish.
Truly. Dominic, where can people find you?
Well, now probably behind Taco Bell. Now that I've been given this information, that's apparently where the Ozempic parties are being held. So,
Correct.
besides that, you can find me at domandterry.com or at Dominick Pupa on the socials. That's that thing, Chris, that you hate when I whisper it.
Yeah,
You're like,
that
you're
was
not
it.
on stage, you're on a podcast. On the socials at Dominick Pupa. Sorry, everyone.
You can find me at the Chris DeRosa. Please rate and review the show and write in your review who you want us to fix. See, I did it right that time. All right, again, Robert, thank you so much. And where's Shelly? Goodbye.